I honored my father's will, and everyone turned on me. What happened next sparked a debate no one expected. Sometimes I come across a story that makes me pause and think. This one has layers. So take a seat, because this is about legacy, betrayal, family loyalties, and how one person's sense of justice can clash with everyone else's expectations. Our original poster, let's call him James Jr., shared this situation because he walked out of his own father's funeral stunned, shaken, and honestly unsure if he was the one in the wrong. He wasn't asking for sympathy. He wanted perspective, and that's why he turned to Reddit. James Jr.'s dad, James Sr., had been sick for 8 months. His wife of 3 years, his dad's second wife Linda, was not well liked by the kids. But their dad seemed happy enough, so they tolerated her. Then their father died at the funeral. Only minutes after their father had been laid to rest, Linda grabbed the microphone in the cemetery and made a shocking announcement. She said she was going to keep everything: the house, the business, the accounts, because, in her words, blood doesn't make family, love does. And she claimed she loved him more than any of them. This was the emotional context: grief, shock, and a very public claim of entitlement over property that might not actually belong to her. Right there in the cemetery, the tension exploded. Linda declared that James Jr. and his sister had abandoned their father. James Jr. flatly disputes this. He says he drove hours every weekend to care for his dad, and his sister moved back home for the final 2 months of his illness. Then something unexpected happened. A lawyer from the back of the funeral stepped forward and corrected the record. There was a new will, one written 4 months earlier. In that updated estate plan, the house and business were left to James Jr. and his sister. Linda was not the executor, and she received a modest settlement per the prenup, but nothing more. The mood changed instantly. People were stunned. Linda began screaming accusations, calling everyone liars. The situation escalated so badly that cemetery security had to step in. Up until this moment, James Jr. was still in shock. What was supposed to be a funeral had turned into a spectacle. But with the lawyer clarifying his father's final clear intent in front of everyone, something shifted. It was no longer possible to ignore what had been written in legal terms. For James Jr., it was now public and undeniable. James Jr. didn't lash out. He didn't retaliate with insults. He stood there in silence, letting the legal truth speak for itself, and stepped back. After the funeral, his sister found a threatening note Linda had left on the doorstep. She tore it up. They changed the locks. They moved forward, blocking Linda's messages when necessary. James Jr. didn't share the inheritance. He stayed true to what his father had explicitly decided. To him, this wasn't about money. It was about honoring a choice his father made, one that reflected who was actually present during his final months. The consequences came quickly. Linda was escorted out of the funeral and later appeared at the court will reading, where she attempted to contest the will despite clear legal documentation. Meanwhile, James Jr. and his sister kept the house. His sister lives there now with her family. Linda reportedly moved out of state and may have tried to sell her version of the story to tabloids, but nothing came of it. Family connections fractured. Conversations stopped. What should have been a time of shared grief turned into a lasting divide. Here's my stance on this. Under normal circumstances, respect, communication, and private resolution are the healthiest paths. That's the standard most people reasonably expect. But here's the nuance. Linda chose a funeral as the stage to declare her intentions. That isn't communication. That's theatrical escalation. And when the legal facts were presented, her response wasn't discussion or reflection. It was shouting and accusations. James Jr. didn't act maliciously. He didn't take something that wasn't meant for him. He followed his father's clear, updated, and legally binding wishes. That isn't disrespect. It's honoring someone's autonomy. In inheritance disputes, the most ethically defensible position is to follow the will, not renegotiate based on emotional pressure. This situation also revealed a broader social dynamic. Grief was turned into entitlement. A public stage was chosen instead of a private conversation. Accusations were made before facts were confirmed. That isn't a family coming together. That's emotional dramatics overshadowing the act of honoring a life. Online opinion was divided, though it leaned strongly in one direction. Many commenters pointed out how inappropriate Linda's funeral meltdown was. Grabbing a microphone in a cemetery to announce a claim struck people as tacky at best and manipulative at worst. Some noted that the fact a lawyer had to intervene showed just how far things had gone. Others emphasized that following the will is non-negotiable. One commenter even pointed out that Linda did receive $50,000 through the prenup, meaning she wasn't left with nothing, just not everything. A few skeptics questioned whether the story was exaggerated, reflecting how online audiences often search for inconsistencies or red flags. Still, a strong current of responses supported James Jr.'s decision. Many felt he did exactly what his father wanted and didn't owe anyone more, even in the face of emotional outbursts. Based on the facts as presented, was James Jr. in the wrong? Or did he respond reasonably given the situation? Where do you land? Share your thoughts and judgment in the comments. I'm reading every single one. And like and subscribe for more stories that explore real-world dilemmas through logic, empathy, and social norms.